introducing Brad Smith and his talk, Into the Eye of the Hurricane and Up the Spiral of Business Growth. I like it. It's catchy. Or the shed. Like Sheila was sharing. Yeah, Sheila, I like that. Very, very, very good. Very good. So Mr. Brad Smith is the founder and CEO of Stellar Insight Incorporated, a business growth consulting and coaching company. Brad has been a chemist, production plant equipment designer, a business manager, a business consultant, and an executive coach for CEOs and business owners. He constantly pursues insight into business success, organizational excellence, and the practical actions it takes to consistently achieve significant business growth. In his words, everything is a theory until you experience it and can consciously repeat the experiment. That is so true. He coaches CEOs, business owners, and legislators for organizational growth and excellence. He has worked extensively with a variety of industries for more than 25 years. And those companies who fully commit to the work almost always achieve significant results. Very humble. Brad, very humble. His limits in his work are he limits his work to ambitious, curious CEOs and MSCs, business owners and their teams who are committed to their company's excellence and growth. He also runs a master class for deep intuition development for CEOs and R&D teams. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Brad Smith. Sir.
And now that everybody's asleep.
Wake up! Not yet.
Oh, it actually does come out. One of the things that I had happen for me when I was growing up, my parents moved from Evansville, Indiana to Corvallis, Oregon when I was 12. And I watched my dad start 34 companies in that period of time as I was growing up. And yeah, 30 of them. So 4 of them were still, 3 of them are still running. Fourth was a success. But I got to watch all of those businesses grow. And I got bit by a bug then. And I said, okay, I want to see what I can do. So at 13, my dad had me out selling door to door what he called a hand cleaner, which worked. It actually worked, right? Beat it up in a bathtub. I did actually do that. And sold it to gas stations and garages. I was a horrible salesman. I was terrified to do that. So actually the business didn't do that well. It graduated, and my brothers have taken it over, and now it's probably a $20 million business, which is good. But it's not gas station cleaner, it's a different process. So that was part of my background. Another piece of my background came as a result of 3 sentences from the doctor when I was fall term freshman year. And we back up one more piece. In business schools, they do not tell you the most critical things. They don't teach you the critical things for business growth. Certainly not that rapid business growth. So we're going to go down that path now. Fall term freshman year at Oregon State, I developed an ulcerated colon, a bleeding ulcer. And when I finally got to the doctor in December, he said to me, gee, Brad, 3 sentences. Gee, Brad, if you'd waited 6 weeks to come see me, you'd have bled to death. So he had my attention. That's pretty good for an 18-year-old. Then he said, you'll never eat strawberries or corn or lettuce or anything with roughage ever again in your life. And my 18-year-old brain said, I like strawberries. That's true, but that's not happening. Then he said, and this was the clincher, you have a psychosomatic disease. And I knew what that word meant. Your emotions affect the severity of your symptoms. And in that moment, I made a full-on 100% commitment. I mean, I was going to die anyway in 6 weeks, so I had to do something. And it hurt all the time. So, not to mention other things. In the process, I made that commitment. So I'd been trained in chemistry. I knew what beakers were. I knew that if you watched a beaker carefully enough, you could see when it started to boil. And so I was going to watch Brad as a beaker. I was going to figure out which emotions were connected to my bleeding and my pain. And I was going to figure out, I had no idea at the time, I was going to figure out how to conquer that. So I did. I stumbled into the idea later on in one of my psych classes about being able to rewire your emotions, and that there was almost always, harboring in your subconscious, we talked about that today, the decision that you've made. And from that decision, didn't matter what age you were, that decision tracked you until you went back and rewired it. So I got the bleeding stopped in about 6 to 8 months. I got the pain stopped, slowed down at least in about 4 years. So that was watching Brad and watching carefully. And I finally tracked it back to a single event that happened when I was 12 months old, like this tall. Pulled a bit off the diaper pail, was playing with the diapers because I thought they were really cool, and they had a cloudy thing that floated around behind them. Mom saw it, freaked out, pulled the lid off, spanked me, and got my attention. And at that moment, I went from being secure and safe and unconditionally loved to conditionally loved. Also, I was in the process, I'm assuming, that I was potty training. And so I pushed energy from here. And as a result of that combination, when I was 47, I went back in with hypnosis, and it does work, and reworked that single memory in a single session. And within a year, from the adult perspective of what my mom had gone through and what she was trying to teach me instead of what the 12-month-old thought, from that moment forward then, within 12 months, my symptoms were gone permanently. So what we think about, what we choose, what we decide, makes a significant difference. So from that, if you would, self-awareness training, which is part of what they don't teach you in school, and situational awareness, which they don't also teach you in school. The other two things that come with that are the ability to look at a whole situation and understand what's going on all at once. So part of my pursuit of healing myself was to meditate, to seek calm, and one of the gifts that gave me was perpetual calm. But it took 2 or 3 years, and that was in my early 40s. So binaural beat is a type of meditation that you can do, and you can talk to me about that later. But it rewires the brain across the brain. One of the other things that happens as a result of that is you have access to deeper brain waves. So brainwave, the first one that we do all our thinking in is beta brainwave. The next lower one is alpha brainwave. Below that is the theta brainwave, and that's most of a sleep cycle, 90-minute sleep cycle. And then you've got underneath that, you've got the delta, which is the bottom 30 minutes of a 90-minute sleep cycle. Well, when you wake up in the morning, you're in theta for just a little bit until you put your feet on the floor and start moving. And in that process, I've used that to, I call that my willed epiphany time. I can choose to think about all the issues that are bothering me and work on that. One of the things that I've gotten then as a result of being in that state is recognizing that every one of us is in our own bubble. We think we know ourselves, we think we know the world, but it's only from our own perspective, not your perspective or your perspective. I can know you well, I can talk to you well, but I can't be inside your bubble. And so in order to be inside your bubble, I have to stop myself. I have to listen to all of the possibilities that I can hear in myself and then you. And that builds rapport. And then as a result of building rapport, then I can understand you more deeply. But if we all operate in our own bubble, those are built out of habits. And I'm not tracking the time. habits are complete building of who we are. Most of them are unconscious. Let's put it this way. You have habits. I know how to walk. It's a set of habits. I know the alphabet. That's a set of habits. And so one of the things that I've recognized is if we're all in our own bubbles and all of who we are, literally clear down to the core of us, is a set of habits. If it's just a set of habits, it can be changed. Walking back through all the experiences that I went through in my healing myself in the 20 or 30 years that took, what I got out of that was there's nothing in you can't conquer. All you have to do is put your commitment to it and pay attention and be present. So one of the skills that I would have you do is, in order to grow a company, in order to take a group of people, start at one as an entrepreneur or a group of people, and then grow to hundreds. And I worked at companies that worked at Hewlett Packard and Corvallis at one point that was somewhere between 6,000 and 12,000 people. And I knew a lot of them. What I found was, if you have a group of people and you need them to align on a goal, you want to grow a company faster, the concept they have of what needs to be achieved for them and their group has to align. So you have to build rapport. You have to recognize that you're listening when you're listening and recognize when you're not listening. Let's take a habit that you have. A habit possibility is either listening or not listening. Or you've had people that you work with that don't listen. How do you change that? You start paying attention. You start being present. So in order to change your habits, look at what you are. So here's a piece of homework for you. If you want to change a company and get them to grow faster, go through and make sure that either the correct people that work for you and their whole group, you understand the same idea. Say what you need to say, have them tell you back. Engage with them so that it's two-way, so that it's a conversation. They'll engage more and put more of themselves into it if they feel like they have part of it. That's part of the rapport part. As you grow them into your bubble, if you would, what you're doing then is you have the whole organization. Your habits are who you are. Their habits are who they are. But in the company, there's also a set of habits that are between everybody. The informal rules. And the informal rules are the organization's unconscious habits. In order to grow a company faster, the unconscious habits have to align and line up with the end result, which is making sure the customers are delighted, listening to the customers, have the production team work better, have the sales team actually know how to listen. I like that. And so if you get everybody more included in your bubble, what you wind up with is more alignment. And with more alignment, then you can inspire people, you can get more energy into the organization, and it moves more quickly toward what needs to happen. I've probably forgotten most of what I was going to say. Think of an organization. How many of you been to a symphony ever? Did you ever go before they actually started playing, when the orchestra was warming up? Right? A lot of sound. No music, just sound. That's an organization that's not lined up. Right? The conductor steps up, he taps on the podium, and then they all pay attention, and then they start the music with the wave of his hand. And as a result of him being there and guiding them, the accountability piece for them showing up and doing their job with the quality that's needed is his ability to hear and listen to the whole sound and actually listen to each instrument and each group of instruments. That accountability is what we need in our organizations to be able to grow faster. From his vision to their vision, that alignment then happens. And what did I learn? I learned that because I had to pay attention to the orchestra here in order to actually have it be healthy. That took me time and effort and a lot of diligence. That taught me skills that you can't get. So the skills you need to grow a company faster is self-awareness, and then situational awareness, other people awareness. So think of rapport, think of comprehension. When you say something, do people comprehend it? Do you understand that they understand? How often have you watched somebody and, like the young lady said before, they're not paying attention, and you know they're not paying attention. Build rapport, build engagement, and make sure that that alignment then gets what it needs to do, so you see the results that come out, because you can hear it like the composer, like the conductor. I didn't actually think. I have one exercise for you to do after you leave here. List all your frustrations with your company. List all the things that drive you nuts, that aren't working, the things that you want to accomplish, but it's like there's these things that are getting in the way. Then go into your list of your personal bad habits and recognize which part of you those are just reflecting back. That's the first step. And so make a list of your bad habits. Go to your spouse or your partner or a close friend. Have them talk you through their understanding of your bad habits and make a plan to conquer those bad habits. Then do that with your whole executive team, and then do it out into the whole organization. What are the organization's bad habits? And then set out a plan in order to conquer and rework those bad habits through the whole organization. If you do that, then you'll have a plan to accomplish what you want and align with what the end result is, which is growth. I had a client that I worked through this whole process. In the first year I worked with him, the year before actually, they'd made $3.5 million. At the end of that year, they were at $6.5 million, which I thought was pretty good. The following year, he added another 3 plus, and they were at 9 point something. The year after that, they were at $12.9 million. That was every year. Then he and I stopped working, and he took all the things that I taught him. He only grew from 12.9 to 13.3 million, but he quintupled his profit margin in that year that followed. He was pretty happy because he could retire. I'd helped him become a millionaire, and that let me know that this stuff actually works. Pay attention to yourself, be present, and listen and learn. Thank you.